Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're going to give our first impressions of the Wingspan Asia expansion.
Yes.
As you can see by this box here, we do not actually have the box for it. We ended up getting the combination of the nesting box and Wingspan Asia.
Yep.
So maybe at the end of this video we'll give a few thoughts on the nesting box as well. But we'll start with the Asia expansion, and we played it specifically with the new kind of two-player mode. We have not tried the flock mode, and we've only played one game of the two-player mode so far.
I thought that would be best to really get the new kind of way to play the game while also exploring the... We played with only the cards that came in that expansion, so we got to see pretty much all of the cards. We played a very card-heavy game, so we went through like all of it, like under 10 cards of the deck. So,
So, based on one play, but we ended up playing this last night, and what were your expectations, I guess, going in?
I felt it was weird to have a two-player standalone expansion. It was interesting, but felt weird, and I didn't... They kind of added a map, which kind of made me think of the Star map in Tuscany expansion, which I'm okay with, but I'm not a huge fan. And just seeing that as kind of a big board in Wingspan, and one of the things that I really loved about Wingspan was just how streamlined it is, and it's just really central on your board and kind of the engines you can build. So I was worried that that would possibly distract from that and just kind of overcomplicate things possibly. So I wasn't overly... I mean, I was excited, obviously, for another Wingspan expansion, but I was hesitant as to if I would really like that way to play, or if that would just be an extra piece to the game that we never use.
Right. Yeah, I would say I was probably, it sounds like, a little more excited than you were, because it had been pretty much 2 years since the last expansion, and I always like more cards in the game. And I thought it was a little strange to have that kind of be the big thing for this one, was that mode, and then kind of a 6 to 7 player mode, which I think plays pretty similarly to the base game. It's just pretty much
rewards for those goals, I think.
Right, and that I think you might use some of the same ones, but it's just two people kind of playing at once, just to kind of speed the game up. Just based on the fact that the two-player mode is kind of the big thing that I thought in this expansion was a little strange, but I do know sometimes when other games have had two-player only modes, like Seven Wonders Duel, and what other ones?
Splendor Duel.
But we
haven't played that.
But heard that one's good as well. But sometimes going into these two-player experiences can kind of add a little bit more to the game sometimes. But
they didn't bring Bruno Catala on to make this two-player.
That's true,
which was worrying,
right,
to say the least.
But we had gone to the World Series of Board Gaming, and one of the games we played was Wingspan. So we had actually played a lot of just the base game at two players and kind of some practice rounds, and I thought those played pretty well. So I didn't feel like this two-player mode is lacking. Whereas there are definitely some games where that can feel like it. Like it has a 2 to 4 player count on the box, but then sometimes the two players, like, well, you're actually using a third fake player or some sort of alternate rules that just doesn't give you the full experience. But I don't feel like that's the case at all in base Wingspan. So I didn't know that I maybe needed the two-player mode, but I thought, well, maybe it'll... I think the main player count I'm going to play Wingspan at most of the time is 2, if not 3, so that adds another kind of option. So I was still pretty excited. So then we got into playing the game, and a lot of it is pretty much the same as Wingspan. There were some new birds with some new cool powers, which I really enjoyed, and it's just amazing that, even though it is only the third expansion, it still being able to come up with some new unique powers that still feel pretty balanced with some old stuff, and then but still bring kind of new strategies to the game potentially.
Yeah, they added a little like push your luck even, which I was when I heard that that was going to be in the game. That was another thing where I was like, how are you going to have push your luck in Wingspan? And I think it worked really well with some of the birds. You kind of roll dice, and you can kind of gain cached food for the one you had, and then you can push your luck and roll again, and you could possibly bust and lose those that you've already gained. And I just thought that was just a really cool bird effect, very unique compared to other ones that we have.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And yeah.
I feel like a lot of them, which I really like, and I think they probably made a decision to do that for a two-player game, is a lot of them manipulated the dice and the bird feeder, which in a two-player game, it can get pretty stuck at times, where you're just not refreshing it. So I really like that they added that here, because there haven't been a lot that really reset the bird feeder with those bronze powers. So I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, and yeah, the main new thing was the board in the center, and that gave you some options to do that as well, some mitigating of not only the dice, but also kind of the card tray, so the available cards that you, well, the ones you can see, the face-up cards that are available to you, you kind of mitigate that a little bit more as well, which was a nice touch for a two-player mode of Wingspan. But yeah, the board itself, you just are adding these little pieces onto it when you play a bird, so it gives you a little bit more of a reason to potentially put a bird out there and play it, versus sometimes you get such a good engine going, you're like, is it worth it to play more birds? Because it's going to be 7 points if I just keep taking the lay eggs action the rest of the game, or I could play this whatever point bird, although that's actually less points. So unless you're really like full on eggs, where it wouldn't make sense for you to keep taking the lay eggs action, you kind of get stuck to, I'm just going to keep laying eggs. But in this case, it opens up that possibility of scoring, kind of the only way to score the bonuses in a two-player game, and also gives you opportunities at some bonuses and also some few end game points. Wouldn't say it's a major chunk of points, but it's enough to make a difference.
It is a good, because I ended up, I think you had like 9, I had 13 bonus points, which is like a huge chunk of points.
That's true. That's probably about
so if someone
10% of your 10+% of your points, 10 to 15.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I guess, do they say that you can use the other end of round goal tiles with?
I think you have to use those.
You have to use these? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay, because they kind of all relate to that, which I thought was, I like that. I like that those pretty much all related to what you had on the map, and in a way, some of those do relate. Are pretty much the same type thing. Like there's one that on forest spaces, and the only way you can get those tokens on the forest spaces on that map are to play birds in the forest. So it's pretty much the same as birds in your forest row.
Just a more unique way of doing it.
But yeah, I just felt like felt smooth, just having those goals, and all you had to look at was what was out on the board.
Yeah, I'd agree. But yeah, so I liked all that new stuff. I think my only thing would be that I think that board adds just a little bit more thinking time, so it's going to extend the length of the game by a decent amount. It could not like a significant amount.
It was hard to tell, because it felt like one of our longest games that we've had
in a while.
But we have been playing base game Wingspan, and in this game in particular, I had a ton of round end abilities, which we hadn't been playing with since we just played base game lately. So that added another kind of step to a round, in addition to that board, and kind of learning all these new abilities. So I felt like it was longer, but I did
a learning game.
Yeah, but I did enjoy this. It's probably, I don't know. It was just nice to get back to new birds, and then also introduced to this new map, which I really, really liked and felt was really satisfying. I'm just making groups of those and really seeing it come together, and thinking of the huge chunk of points you're going to get at the end, and also scoring points throughout the game for those round goals. I just really had a great time with it.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I guess, was there any other... one other maybe negative, I would say, is that the tokens that you're putting out onto that kind of cover the thing, whatever the image is, the icon is. and a lot of those icons interact with your end of round
Yep.
goals. So sometimes it's hard to tell who has the majority or the least just based on that because it covers most of the icons. So
that's
it's a
true.
little hard to see.
That's true.
But I don't know.
I don't know how you could do it
I don't know how
unless
you
you
could
just
change that.
made it like bigger and had like the icon and a spot to the side of it where you could put it, but that would
Yeah,
just
it might be too messy
that
then.
would be too messy, I think.
And I think the actual pieces that you're putting out there feel about to be the right size. So if you
Yeah.
made those smaller, they
Yeah,
might
these
feel
cool
too small.
kind of yin yang. The player colors are white and black, and it's just
Mhm.
really satisfying to put them together. You don't put them together in the game, but it's fun to play with those.
Mhm. But
yeah,
other
it
than
is
that-
hard to see at times.
Other than that, I think it was quite solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can get to our initial thoughts scores, especially for I guess an expansion, but it is also standalone.
Yeah.
As a two-player version.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play more, you can use the cards and stuff in this, but then you'd need another.
Yep.
I don't know. I assume you could just throw expansions in there even too, or the base game.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you'd need either the base game or Oceania for more player boards, I guess.
Oh, yep.
So the European expansion by itself would not. It'd give you more birds for a two-player game,
Yeah.
but you would not be able to play
Yeah.
more players. Well, I guess you could, but you'd need to create your own maps, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd come in after that one play at probably a 9.5, and I could see that even going higher because I just found that it added a lot of interesting things to a two-player game that weren't there before, but it also felt like it just added in general new things to Wingspan, and I would wonder it might make it too long if you made it playable for like the full player count.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would work, but it would be interesting to see how it could, if that something like that could be done in like at least a 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 player count as well. But I don't know if that would work or not. But yeah, I just found it interesting because you can lay a bird sometimes, and some of the bonuses are eggs, so it's like you could without even having to take the lay eggs action anywhere, play bam bam 2 birds kind of back to back in the same area without ever having to take the lay eggs action. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I'm coming in at a 9.5 as well. Just gives me everything I want from an expansion. Just more birds with unique, exciting powers, and introduce a whole new, not a whole new way to play the game, but just a whole new part to the game, which I really enjoyed. And like you said, I think that's a good thing. That shows that it's a great two-player version when you're like, I want to see this implemented into the regular player count. Kind of like Seven Wonders Duel. I'm like, I want this for Seven Wonders. I don't know how you do that with a tug of war, but
Right.
I feel the same way with that map in this. I'm like, I really want to see that in like every game of Wingspan I play. I just really found it satisfying.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree 100%. So yeah, those are our thoughts. Pretty solid of solid expansion, and yeah, but I guess we can talk a little bit about the nesting box as well. So yeah, we got these together, and this is supposed to hopefully hold all future Wingspan content and all current Wingspan content. And it comes with a new bird feeder. If you've used yours a lot and it's kind of worn down, it's another one kind of just like the old one. So you get one of those, and then it comes. At least ours, it came with a new holder for cards. If you had bought the original or the European one, it came with like a plastic card tray holder and stuff. This one came with like a orange one as well. So there's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that came in here. It's hard to tell because they were both kind of mixed together with the expansion. It comes with different cardboard pieces to split out your cards if you want to do that, and split them between the different expansions that you have. And there was a promos one, so maybe there will eventually be some Wingspan promo cards. And I don't remember if there was anything else in here as well. Then we get into kind of the storage solution of it, and it's a box, so it's a pretty deep box. We just have the lid here right now.
And you can check out the unboxing of
Yes, we
this
do have
as
it.
well. Should be linked below.
Right, then you get a really good idea of what was all in here, but that includes the Wingspan Asia expansion as well, but you get a better look at it. But it's pretty much a box that splits into 3 different pieces. So you've got the bottom, and then you've got another layer, and then a layer after that, and then the top.
Yep.
And the top piece kind of just holds all your player mats and rule book and kind of all the flat
and
stuff.
I love that. It held all the original mats, all the Oceania mats, the 2 new Asia mats, all these cardboard ones, as well as our 5 neoprene mats on top of that, and the rule books. And it all fits in there. And it's so satisfying because we've had those neoprene mats sitting out, can't fit them in the box, obviously.
But the original.
But now we can put them in there, and it's very satisfying.
It is, and there's enough room that it's not like, oh, it's exactly a tight fit. No, it's
you're
got
able to get them
some
out
space,
there.
so you can pretty easily get them out, and the actual mats that you'd get in the game as well. So yeah, all of that fit in there, and it seems like it still had more space if we could probably buy 2 more. Well, maybe even more than that. We could probably buy 2 more to get up to the 7-player flock mode now of neoprene mats, and I think that would still fit in there. So there's quite a bit of room there. And then, so you can take that layer out.
Which I just love that it's layered. It just makes it so easy to get what you need.
Yeah, that's true as well. Because then you take which ones you need and kind of put that aside, and then you get into this next piece that kind of has some, that's kind of split into some different areas. You got a main single area, or I don't know if it's a square area, and then kind of has the side is split into a couple different areas for cards, and then the other side split into an area for your bird feeder and some more cards. But then in the
and they have
center,
all this printed in the inside of this
They
lid
do.
as well. So we got a cheat sheet here.
We do have a little bit of a cheat
and
sheet.
it does help you store it as well.
Exactly, and then it comes with like 4 trays. I think one that kind of holds your dice, your player cubes, first player marker, the goal end round goal stuff, and the other ones can hold kind of a combination of your eggs and your different food types. So you got 3 of those ones.
And we have a lot of eggs.
We do have a lot of
We've
eggs.
got all the eggs from all the expansions, as well as the speckled eggs you had gotten, and it just barely fit in all 3 of those containers. Filled each of their sections up completely, to where if you shake it, like they don't even like move.
Right.
But the lids of all these do snap on pretty nicely, I think, for all these trays.
Yeah,
so that was
hang on there
nice.
pretty well.
Yeah.
So if you have the speckled eggs and you've gotten all the expansions with all the eggs, for those containers, at least where it shows to put eggs, those will be all completely full.
Yes.
Just a note.
Yes.
But I think you could find other space in the box to put them. But
Yeah.
container-wise, that fits about that many eggs, however many that is.
Yeah. Yep. And I think everything is pretty. I think it works for all of it, except one part was the player pieces. They made the spots for those a little deeper to accommodate for special ones, like we have the 3D printed birdhouses. We also have like wooden meeple birds as well, if we want to use those. The birds didn't fit in there because they were quite a bit bigger than the regular cubes or those birdhouses. So luckily there's a lot of extra space, like at the bottom layer where we have those. But because it is deeper to accommodate for that, it is harder to remove the pieces. I've had a hard time the couple times that I've actually taken, because we played with the 2 players, so we were just using the cubes in the Asia expansion, and I kind of struggled to get all of those cubes out of the slot. So that's just one thing to note. Probably my only negative with the whole insert.
Yeah, I guess I haven't tried to do that, so I don't know. I can't comment on that. But yeah, it is a little interesting that it wouldn't fit the birds, because I don't know what Stonemaier's relationship with like Meeple Source is, but I know Meeple Source has wooden birds. I guess I don't know how big those are, because the ones we have are not Meeple Source ones. I don't know if they're maybe smaller, but I'm surprised that they wouldn't have made them fit maybe those.
We could have maybe made them fit, but it would take some tetracine to get them in there.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so that'd be a little surprise. So if you have those, which I know a lot of people bling out their sets, it may be, it might not fit in there 100%. But we also, in our version, copy originally, we had Broken Token Insert, which kind of held pretty much everything up to this point pretty well.
Yep.
Well, I would say until I just recently got those 100 speckled eggs. Those, then it was pretty much packed. But before that, everything fit pretty well, and we have upgraded food tokens. So I guess I don't know how the circular ones would all fit in those different things. I think they would probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it a little bit, and we could maybe experiment with it a little bit. We didn't really experiment too much, but I did find it a little hard to know how I could use a combination of the nice containers they put in there, plus a combination of some of maybe the wooden inserts.
Yeah.
So if you have inserts, it's kind of tough because the ones in there are pretty nice. So it's like, I'd like to use these, but then maybe if I had these inserts, I do like the insert for maybe, like, it holds the wooden birds pretty well, the ones that we have.
Oh, yep.
So it would be nice to be able to have those maybe in that main area, but I don't know that it would work with the way we currently have it in there.
Yeah. That is tough. We kind of have some of those at the bottom of the insert. Like we said, there's some extra space.
And you could make it work.
Yep.
I think it's just you'd have to kind of move stuff around and kind of work with it a little
just
bit.
Like you said, it already is so good, and there's so many parts of the insert that's here that I would want to keep, that it just has so little other space to really do something with what you already have.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think all the stuff can fit in there really well, especially if you don't have any inserts. I think this will hold all of your stuff really well, because then you can take that layer out, and then you have a bottom, which kind of is just like a catch-all for everything else. And currently we didn't build the new bird feeder yet, and because I don't think if you put it together, I guess maybe if you had it on the bottom, I don't know if that'd be too big.
I think it would be. Yeah.
I think it might be too big, and I don't think 2 bird feeders will fit in the spot for the bird feeder. I think that'll be too big as well. So I don't know that you could have both of them built and fit in there. So we just left it in the kind of its cardboard form and put it on the bottom, which it can just sit there until maybe we feel like we need to use it. But then we have kind of just leftover things. It has on the picture here, it suggests the 2 plastic boxes that hold your cards from the European and the original Wingspan based game boxes. Kind of put those both in the bottom, so you could hold more cards there if you wanted. But yeah, otherwise it's kind of a catch-all for everything else. I think if we wanted to, we could put most of our old insert stuff in there, but there's a few that are too tall, I think.
Yeah, like the card tray one, which is a really nice one too, because it's kind of got that top area with the logos on there, the bird. It's really nice.
But yeah, pretty much everything fits in there. There are a few pieces that we had from like the 6 to 7 player flock mode that we put down there. I'm not really sure where.
Yeah.
You probably could fit it in that middle layer somewhere, but I guess I just don't know
I guess
where
probably
I put it.
on that top layer with the maps. You could probably fit it.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could probably put it on there as well. But yeah, and then we just kind of have, since we have the upgraded resources or food tokens, I think we kind of have a bag of some of the old ones down there. And if you had upgraded anything else, you could put those down there. But we put our wooden birds down there as well. So it's a good kind of space to catch everything else that you don't have in the main box. But I'm sure you could find a way to fit pretty much everything you wanted in that middle one, or most of the stuff you wanted, if you kind of jiggy rig it around a little bit. But yeah, overall I think it's a solid storage solution, and it has some great I think it's put together pretty well. And it feels really sturdy. It does,
like that middle, like all the layers, when you pull them out, you're not afraid that it's going to be so heavy. Like even with all those maps that we said, I've never once, I mean, we obviously have only played it a couple times, but I don't fear that something's going to rip or the bottom's going to come loose or anything like that.
Right. So like comparatively to like the side legendary box, like this, that one kind of just had cardboard boxes in it.
Yeah, because we also have the broken token for that, which I think makes it work. But without that, there's really not much direction on what to do.
I feel like this is what they, looking back, should have done. in that one or something. Not exactly this layout, obviously, but something similar to this would have been really cool for that one. And I think this one's even better as well than the wine crate.
Yep.
I think that one has more direction than the legendary box, so I think they've slowly been taking steps forward on each one, it feels like.
Yeah,
So
I'd say this is, of a big box, like just a special storage solution, this is probably one of the best that I've seen, personally.
right, yeah, especially without having to go out and get your own
Yeah.
insert to
Yep.
put inside of it.
Yep.
I would agree, of the ones we have. So, yeah, I would give the box probably a 9. 9.5. It's really solid.
Yeah, I'd give it another 9.5. 9.5s all around.
Oof.
Expansion and nesting box.
It's a pretty solid box. So if you really love Wingspan and you plan on getting all the content, unless you have a good way of storing it already, I would suggest at least looking into this. It is still a bit spendy, but
Yep.
I think it's a pretty solid thing if you're going to be playing it a lot. But then to note that this only has half the expansion so far, and I don't know how much more heavy stuff will be added in future expansions, but it is pretty heavy already. It's almost 20 pounds
heavy. It is,
with everything
yes.
in it. So
Yeah, we thought
you won't be probably bringing it around
Yeah.
easily to game nights and stuff. So
we thought
No, that'd be-
Everdell was going to be our heaviest game by far, that collector's edition, but
which we just got to.
and this one did it and beat it by like a pound or two.
Mhm.
So yeah. But yeah, as well, I think Jamie's noted it. If you like the boxes, the sides, the top and bottom of these kind of, I guess what's it called? These types of boxes.
Like the double.
Yeah.
I
If you
don't know.
like those to match up the artwork perfectly, I think the ends are a little better, but the sides are a little offset with the artwork. So I think Jamie had said that if that bothers you a lot, then just
Probably pass on it because
Yeah.
it's they are not perfect, but they're good enough for me. I don't
and
need
it's
it
funny
to be exactly.
if you do like switch it the wrong way, just matching up some of these bird tops and bottoms. There's a couple that do kind of line up and are a little funny.
Yeah, they are a little bit funny.
And speaking of that, they do also have birds like printed throughout the insert,
Mhm.
which I thought was a really nice detail. Just a little here and there,
Mhm. I
bring it
agree,
all
'cause,
together.
Yeah, just kind of randomly placed too.
Yeah.
So I like that quite a bit. It's a nice little touch that they didn't have to do, but they did anyway. So yeah. I would agree. Yeah. So that is our first impressions of Wingspan Asia and our thoughts on the Wingspan nesting box.
Yeah.
If you want to check out more Wingspan content, you'll probably link below for us.
Yes.
Our Stone Timber content, we did some content on all Stonemaier games, including a lot of Wingspan stuff, so check those ones out. And we hope to see you on those videos, and as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.